Welcome to the Deadlifts and Pizza podcast, where we discuss no BS fitness and nutrition.
We're your hosts. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jaime.
Let's get into it.
Hello, Laura.
Hi, Jaime.
How's it going?
Good.
I already know how you are. Footballed up
we just
from the
talked
weekend.
about football
for 20 minutes.
Jaime doesn't find football interesting.
Yeah.
So much drama.
Because I'm starting to get into basketball,
Uh-huh.
I can see pieces of it.
You know what's funny? Because when you were talking about basketball, I don't even watch basketball anymore, so I don't know what's going on. When you were saying something about a cup, I'm like, cup? What the hell is a cup? Like, you know more about basketball than I do. I didn't know there was a cup. I had to look it up after, and it started in like 2023, so some like new thing. Anyway.
I mean, I wouldn't say I know more about basketball than you do, though, but that's one thing I know.
You know more about the players and what's going on with the
Definitely
with
the
drama.
game of basketball I don't understand. Like,
yeah.
I know the main things, but then something will happen. And I'll try to ask Donovan, like, well, why did they do that? And then he doesn't answer. I'm like, why did they do that? And he won't answer. And then finally he'll be like, just listen to the commentators. I was like, I can't. I don't know what they're saying. I don't understand it. Very bad at explaining things.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get into other sports and things to watch, something that would be interesting to me. I'm thinking of maybe like the WNBA because it's so inexpensive and easy to watch, because it needs to be something that I can get into, that I can watch really easily. And I remember looking up the app last year. It's like, I don't know, it might be like $35 for the entire year or something to have all of the out of market games. And I remember watching drama happening between Caitlin Clark and other players because they kept fouling her and causing all this drama. And then one of her teammates, I forgot her name, I could picture her, but I forgot her name, like ended up fouling somebody else really hard. And like, there was like all this back and forth, and like, girls basketball is getting interesting. I might have to get into that.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm definitely not there, but
the other thing that I think I'm going to get into, because I find this really interesting, is CrossFit. Just watching the CrossFit games, because those people are insane, and watching those women compete is so interesting. So I started watching some of them like from last year, and like this one girl was just like dominant and amazing, and it's just really fun to watch that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think I could get into this. Yeah.
Yeah. I might be putting it. That's interesting. Yeah. I didn't think
not
about
the men
that.
as much, but definitely the women.
I wouldn't even say I'm into basketball. I'm just into the Spurs. The Spurs are playing.
Well, I mean, that's how it is with a lot of sports. Like when I was into baseball, it was the Yankees. I wasn't really into baseball. I can't watch any other baseball games. It was only the Yankees. And I'm still a Yankee fan, but it's so much harder to watch them now. Football, I am a football fan, like die-hard Giants fan. But I can watch any football game and be interesting. I know what's going on with all the teams. Football is different than any other sport.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you do fantasy football?
I used to. And I don't, you know what I don't like about it? And it's annoying when people are around and they're doing fantasy football, because they'll be like, I needed this guy to get the touchdown, not that guy. And I'm like, I just care about a team winning. Like, I care more about
it definitely
that.
feels different than the teams at that point. It's like this different layer.
Yeah, and I don't like that as much. I do like pick'em. So this year we did pick'em. And then so you pick teams every week, or you do Survivor. My brother actually won a Survivor tournament out of like millions of people. He made it all the way to the end.
Really?
And he ended up winning, I don't know, a couple $1,000s from that.
What?
But it's really hard to do that. Survivor's where you pick one team each week, and then you can only pick one team once, but it doesn't go against the spread. So that team only needs to win. They don't need to win by a certain amount of points or whatever. So you just pick one team, but you can't pick that same team again. So it becomes really challenging towards the end to not pick a repeat team. So make it all the way 18 weeks. Yeah. Anyway, but I do pick them too. And I won this year for that, and that was fun.
Oh, cool. Did you win money?
This year, of course, was the year we're like, we're just going to do this for fun. No, I did win the first year we did it, where it was with money. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like years ago.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
Sorry. Love sports.
Yeah.
And football.
What else you got for me today?
I wanted to talk about how we, like, it's funny how you change as you get older. Remember how you were saying, like, things you do now or things that you feel now that maybe were different when you first started and kind of
Yeah,
stuff
just
like
like
that?
in terms of training and nutrition, but even just as a person.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah. And one thing now, and it's more recent, but this is how I am, is that like once I get into something, it's like I'm like into it and I want to research everything and learn everything that I can about it. And I go like deep dive, right?
Yeah.
And it's so funny how much I am enjoying like cardio workouts and conditioning workouts because
Yeah.
I hated them before. Like I
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people when they think of cardio, they think of zone 2 where you're just on a piece of equipment and you're kind of just, going at that steady pace, which to me so freaking boring. Like I can't do that
Yeah.
consistently forever. And it doesn't make me
Mhm.
feel good because I think if I had a bike or something it would be better. Like I said before, just the treadmill, just that repetitive, I don't like it. Or like going for like a run around the neighborhood, not my thing. I'd get like 10 minutes in and be like, okay, I'm going home now.
Yeah.
So you think of that, or they think of like HIIT, where you're like dying, or like like I remember doing Beachbody a long time ago and doing Insanity
Mm.
and the dig deeper. Like no, I don't want
Those
to.
those insanity workouts make you feel like you are going to die.
Yeah. So those are the two options when you usually like when people think of cardio is usually one of those things. But I'm doing but obviously there's stuff in between, right? And so I'm learning all of these different methods and applying them and trying different things and really enjoying it. So right now I'm working out 3 days a week for strength training, right? And in the beginning, right now I feel like my program is just very like well-rounded, covering everything. Don't have a main goal, just a little
Mhm.
bit of everything, right? So 3
Mhm.
days full body strength training. I could probably get some muscle gains, some strength gains, but not as much as if I'm focusing on that a little bit more, right?
Right.
And then I'm doing power at the beginning of those workouts. So I'm adding the power in. And then in between are like conditioning. Well, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, strength. Tuesday, so that was today, is power and conditioning. So I do some power first and focus a little bit more on that because I'm only doing like one exercise at the beginning of my strength. So adding a little bit more of that in. And then at the end, doing the landmine complexes that I was talking about
Yeah.
before.
Mhm.
So that's today. Then Thursday is mobility for like 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm adding a little bit more of that in because I feel so like my hips and everything's so tight and my knees hurt. And I think I need a little bit
Yeah.
more of that right now. So adding that in and then I'm doing explosive repeats. Have you ever heard of
Mm.
those?
Mm-mm.
So it's like you're going to pick a power exercise. So something that you're going to perform explosively. So like a jump squat or med ball throw or something like that. Something you could do explosively. And you're only going to do it for 8 to at the most maybe 20 seconds. Probably more like 8 to 15 would be better because you want to be able to perform that explosively
Mhm.
over and over again. You don't want to it's not a workout where you're going to be exhausted and crawling on the floor, right? So you're going to do that for a short period of time. And then you're going to take like, it depends on like how conditioned you are, right? So 8 seconds. You might start with the 8 seconds and then you're going to rest for maybe 60 seconds. And then later on, you might be able to perform the exercise for 10 seconds and maybe rest for 50 seconds. So the rest times are going to get shorter and the working times are going to get longer. So it can go all the way down to like 30-second rest. And then in between, it's an active, I shouldn't say rest, it's more of like active recovery. So you can do a light jog, you can walk around, depending on your fitness level. What I do is I have a I have a tennis ball in here and I dribble it around, like trying to like dribble it like a basketball. So that's what
Yeah.
that's what I do in between because that's like just the perfect amount of movement where I'm still moving around and keeping my heart rate where it's not like, dropping and not doing anything.
So, what's an example of like an exercise you would do in that pattern?
Like a jump squat, mid ball throw, lunge jumps. What are they called? What are those called? Anyway,
So,
yes.
explosive repeats is really just it's kind of like HIIT.
It's similar, but you're not dying. Like you're not going to
Mhm.
get your heart rate as high as HIIT.
It's not
You're not
necessarily
gonna,
focused on heart rate.
it's not focused on heart rate. And what it does is like, this would be really good for an athlete, right? Because it's going to get you to be able to recover quicker and
Mhm.
perform explosively again. So it's going to work on
Mhm.
that recovery. So like you can do something explosively, like, so if you're playing basketball and you are dribbling down the court, and then like maybe you're sprinting down the court, right? But you're only doing that for a short time. Then you're kind of like, you're still moving around, but you're not going at like that fast explosive speed. But then someone, breaks away and steals it and is running down the court. You have to run down and go back to the other end of the court, whatever, something like that. You're going back and forth. You're kind of like, it's kind of mimicking that, where you're doing something explosively. Then you're still moving. You're just not moving at that fast explosive pace.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's all feeling good.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that's
Then
awesome.
On the weekend, I'm doing sled pushes and pulls and do more zone 2, like circuit type zone 2, where I'm not bored out of my mind. So,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the sled push and pulls are a little hard because it was cold. So like pushing it and pulling it, and the bars were like freezing. So I'm like, I'm not pushing or pulling anymore, or like, pushing more with anyway, I'm not pushing it anymore. I'm going to just do the drags because it was too cold. And I wanted to do 5 sets of what I was doing. I only ended up doing 3 because my freaking hands were freezing.
Can't you wear gloves? You don't wear gloves?
Oh, I do. But if you're touching metal, you're touching metal
it's
that's out in the freezing 10-degree weather, it's still cold.
Oh, that sounds awful.
That's usually like, I'm not cold. My coat is so warm. I'm not cold and I'm moving around. It's just my hands. That's what gets cold.
Yeah. And if your hands and your feet are cold, you're done.
Yeah. And if I don't want to do that, the other thing I'll do is tempo intervals. So that is where you do something like, I don't want to do it on the treadmill. So if I had a bike, it would be better, but I could do it probably in here and do something like step ups. But you want to do something where you are, you perform something for like 10 seconds at a higher intensity, like 70% ish. So it's going to be higher than, it's going to be like the high end of zone 2 or low end of zone 3, like somewhere around there. And you're going to perform that for only 10 seconds. And then you're going to do active recovery for 60 seconds. So on a treadmill, it might be like you're running at a little faster speed and then you like jog at a slower speed. So for me, for like step ups, I might do something where I'm like doing explosive step ups for like 10 seconds. So I'm doing it at like a higher intensity. And then I go back into like just regular pace step ups. Yeah. You do something like that.
That sounds like your standard intervals.
It's called tempo intervals. It's I don't know. That's just one of the protocols.
More structured.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
And it's supposed to be really good for recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like high intense. Like it's not going to. You could do it multiple days a week if you wanted to. Anyway, I'm getting into all these things. There's so many things. Of fun.
How do you find all the little new things like tempo intervals and what was the other one you said?
Explosive repeats.
Explosive repeats, yeah.
I follow different people on YouTube and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I also bought I don't have it yet, but I bought one of the chest straps.
Oh, you did? The heart rate straps?
Yeah.
You beat me.
The one I have is called Morpheus. So it's all these people seem to recommend that one, and it doesn't seem to be any better at like tracking your heart rate, but it does like a more accurate HRV rating.
Interesting.
What is it? Heart variable, whatever. Yeah. So
do you have it yet?
No, it hasn't come yet.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
You have a Fit Watch, right?
Yeah, but it's horrible at doing that. Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to know is the difference between what your watch might say and what the chest strap might say.
Well, I do know that I'll measure it, just me feeling my pulse, and it will be like 160. And my watch will be like 120.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'm looking at the watch, I'm like, you're bullshit. That's not.
And then other times I'm like, okay, now I'm in more of a recovery and I'm not moving, and it'll be like 150. Like, you don't even try.
Yeah.
You're not even trying.
You're not even trying. That's awesome. When are you supposed to receive that?
Soon. It was. I ordered it over the weekend. I shipped, so I should get it soon.
Yeah. Okay. You might have motivated me. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see if I remember this and buy it.
Yeah, so I'm just following a bunch of different people learning about all these different things. And I don't know, I'm very interested in athletic type training. So this feels more like that than it does me just doing some steady state, boring cardio or feeling like I want to die. So it's
for sure.
And it has like a purpose and whatever. The other thing that I know, I've heard of this before. What's it called? Resistance something. But I don't do it because I never had a sled. But that's where so I'm going to do this more in the summertime, where you you do something that, like, say you want to get better at sprinting, something like that. You do that, but you add resistance to it. So it might be pushing a sled or running up a hill or something like that. And what's good about it is that it will, for one, you're working your fast twitch muscle fibers, but also you are slowing down the pace so you're less likely to get injured. Because if you're somebody who doesn't sprint and then you go out and you try to sprint 100%, you're most likely going to like pull a hamstring or something, right? So
Yeah.
this helps with that too. So that's something I want to incorporate later.
You know, what's funny is my son, he's had a little bit of soreness before, like, you know, but he's had his legit first time being so sore that he felt like he couldn't move.
Yeah.
And it was because at Taekwondo, at the end of class, they had him doing frog jumps, and it kind of turned into this little like competition. I guess it was, the vibe was there. And so by the end of the class, the teacher was like, all right, if there's anybody that wants to keep going, and I wasn't there, my husband was there. So I don't know like how this was structured, but Joaquin was one of the people in the group that wanted to stay and keep going, and he wasn't going to duck out until like he was forced to duck out. Like that's kind of his, he'll always kind of just like, well, I'm, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was thinking about something else that he did that's in that vein that's just so funny. Like he can't even do a cartwheel, but he tried out for doing a backflip during the demo. He's on the demo team to do the halftime show for the Spurs, and they had people try out for the backflip. And my husband texted me like, "Oh, he's staying after to try out for the backflip." I was like, "What?" But if the guy says like, "Who wants to try out for my son will be there." Like my daughter knows enough that like she doesn't want to put herself in the limelight, even if she could do it. But like Joaquin's like, "I'll try anything." And you know, the first tryout, like, okay, show us your cartwheel. He can't even do a cartwheel, but he was out there trying. And I mean, a 5-year-old would do that, but like a 10-year-old, like he's aware enough, but he's still like, he doesn't really get embarrassed. He's just always but anyway, so he stayed after and was like doing the frog jumps until the very end. And he said he did like 100 or something crazy. And when he got home, he said his legs were like shaking, like they felt, you know, we know that feeling. And then the next day for the last 3 days, every time he walks, I'm like, baby, you look like you have to use the bathroom, and you're like holding it, and like that's how he's walking. And it's cracking me up. And it's just like, this is, and he keeps talking as if I have no idea what he's feeling. He's like, "Mommy, you don't understand this pain." I was like, "Yes, I do. You are finally experiencing your first real soreness. Trust me, I know what you're feeling.
Get used to it, kid."
Yeah, I was like, that's a good sign. Like, you need to be doing those things more. And so my husband started saying, like, you need to be doing those more often. So next time Master Kim like pulls that out, you're not, you know, you don't get so sore.
Yeah, definitely.
It was pretty funny. I was reading something this morning that was talking about, it was a little mini study on caffeine supporting fat loss.
Okay.
That I liked. Yeah, it was literally, you know, the study was like only 2 weeks long. So it was like barely even a study. It was like literally a 2-week study. And they had the groups do, you know, one thing one week and one thing the next week. But the difference in like fat loss that they experienced was like double when they had like caffeine before their workout. So I thought that was cool.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's all.
that's it.
Okay,
that's literally
cool.
it.
I mean, we do know that it can help with that. I don't know if it's like actually speeding up your metabolism or anything. It's more probably like you're just able to do more.
I think it's a little bit.
Push more.
I think it's a little bit of everything. It gives you the energy to do a little bit more. It also probably has a little bit of a metabolic, you know, increasing effect.
It does a little bit. It's a stimulant. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a stimulant. But then I also read that we already know that caffeine has a slight nutrient partitioning effect. So it does send some kind of message to your body to burn more fat. Versus like carbs or glucose, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So if you add these, you take these slight little variables and you add them up, and even then caffeine is still just a slight boost. It's not like somebody who just can't lose fat and they're doing everything right. If they just start drinking coffee before, that's going to change it, right?
Yeah.
It's more so like it can give somebody a little bit of an edge. It can help support it a little bit. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It also can lower your appetite, because stimulants can lower your appetite a little bit. So there's that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to talk to intermediate lifters, because I feel like most of the people that listen to us are probably in that range, right? Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I didn't know what you were saying at first, so I was trying to like guess your words.
Yeah. Because, you know, we probably have some beginners and some advanced people listening to us, but I bet you most people fall into that intermediate range. just a lot of different things making me think about different things, which leads me to something else. So
Yeah.
anyway, this was one of those things. And I was thinking about how a lot of times intermediate lifters get to this play because, okay, so when you're a beginner, progress happens quickly,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like
Yep.
you're the gains that you get are so much faster and so much easier to come by. And then when you get into the intermediate level, it slows down a lot. And there are some people that once they get there, they feel like they're doing
What
something wrong.
now?
They
Yeah.
feel like they're doing something wrong. Like, oh, was my hormone? Am I getting older? Is this the reason I'm not making progress anymore? Am I getting older? Am I doing something wrong? Is my programming wrong? Am I not pushing hard enough? Whatever. And it's just important to know that as you become better at something, the progress is so much slower. And this is true with anything, right? The beginning, it's just easy to make progress because you suck at it. So anything in the beginning before you're good, it's just, you don't have to do much to see progress. So in the beginning, you're going to be able to add weight to the bar every week. And then once you get to intermediate level, if that's going to slow down a lot. And that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. That just happens, just means you're getting better. It's a good sign actually, because it means that you are hitting new levels, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with any fitness goal. So same thing with fat loss. So if you have 50 pounds to lose, the first 25 pounds is going to be a lot easier to lose than the last 25 pounds, and even more easy than the last 10 or 5 pounds, because it's just, I don't know, it's just how it works. Your body is going to shed that a lot easier than it is once you get closer to your goals. So I feel like that's important for them to, you know, realize, understand all of that.
Yeah.
The other thing is this works. So there's diminishing returns as you get better at something, but there's also diminishing returns overall out of a specific goal. Like we talk about, and this isn't specifically towards intermediate, this is everybody. But, if you are, like we talk about this with steps, right? If you go from 4,000 steps to 8,000 steps, there's a huge return on that investment compared to if you go from 8,000 steps to 12,000 steps, which is the same amount of increase in steps, but it's still like a less of a return you're going to get. You're still going to get a benefit,
Right.
but it's going to be less. The same thing with strength training. Like if you go from no sets of working out to 3 sets, you're going to see a huge benefit. Then you go to 3 to 6, you're going to see a benefit, but it's probably not going to be as much as going from nothing to 3, keep going up. So if you go from 9 to 12, benefit, but not as big as going from 6, so you want to find that sweet spot where you're getting like that big as, well, at least I do, depending on what your goal is, find that sweet spot where you're getting like the biggest bang for your buck, the biggest return on investment. So if you're somebody who feels like, I'm just not doing enough, I'm not doing enough, you might actually be like in a good place getting like the biggest, return where you're at. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, sometimes people in that phase push themselves thinking they need to do more,
Yeah.
and they're not allowing themselves to be in that sweet spot and then tweak other things. So like I know I've been there where it's like, all right, I need to be, lifting more often. I need to be doing, let me try doing 5 days a week, or let me try,
Mm-hmm.
dropping the calories even further. And in reality, I'm doing myself a disservice because I'm going to find myself more tired and overworked and disliking it and not seeing the progress I think I should want to see. So a lot of times the answer is pulling back a little bit, actually.
Yeah. A good saying I've heard is, it's not what you can do, it's what you can recover from. Right.
Mhm.
So you can do more, but that doesn't mean it's actually going to be more beneficial, because you might not be able to recover from all
Mhm.
of the work. And when you add something, you generally have to take something away. Like this is talking to those intermediate to more advanced people again. Because if you're a beginner, you can kind of do a lot of things and it's probably fine because because you're not able to lift a lot of weight yet, right? You're not
Right.
able to do certain things. And because you don't need to do as much to see progress the same way. But if you are more intermediate to advanced, like normally when you add something, you have to take something away. So if I'm adding more conditioning into my workout, I'm probably going to have to take away strength training a day.
Sure.
Like, right. So like when I was doing power building, I was doing it 4 days a week. Now, but I only did 2 conditioning workouts and they were kind of lower intensity, whatever. Now that I'm lowering it back down to 3, I can do 3 conditioning. But if I can't do both at the same time. If I'm adding something, I have to take something away. So it's hard to have multiple goals at once unless you're doing like what I'm doing is kind of like, because I'm not advanced at conditioning yet, like I can have that still as a goal and still incorporate it in. Whereas if I
Right.
was already what I'm doing right now, I probably wouldn't make any improvements. So it would probably be maintenance.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because when you start taking that general concept and then you add like aging into it as well, and just
Yeah.
like longevity in the sport or in the hobby,
Yeah.
because it starts to be like, okay, like I feel like my entire strength training career has been focused on getting stronger and
Me
ways
too.
to like balance those. Yeah, I know you're in the same boat because then you get to a point. We talked about this maybe last week or the week before of where you've reached certain milestones
Yeah.
and you could push to go beyond those, but the risk is so much higher.
Yeah.
And it's like I'll go to do a very heavy back squat now, and as soon as I feel that bar and that spine compression, I just go, I don't want to for other reasons. Like it's not that I just, I'm tired and I don't feel like squatting.
It's different. Yeah.
I don't want to do this. And it was interesting. I was listening to our friend's podcast, Jordan and Mike. I always wonder at what point should you stop naming people? Maybe when you're talking negatively about them.
Yeah, when you're talking negatively, I think.
But it was interesting. It was interesting because they've been doing a lot of stuff. I'm like, do you guys listen to us? No, they don't. Because they did the S through F tier rating systems for workout splits. No, they did that first, and then
you
we
did that first. Then you told us. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but you did an S through F tier in general, and then they did
yes.
for something. I don't know.
And
what
I
it was,
haven't
and then
been
I did the
listening to
workout
them.
splits. Yeah. Well, they were just talking about that recently, and they're younger, right? They're younger than us. I believe they're like 30. You know what I mean? How old are you? You're like 38.
38.
Yeah, I'm 40.
Wayne just turned 40 yesterday.
Yeah, so they're wait, what?
Wayne just turned 40 yesterday.
Oh. I was like, who?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Tell him I said happy birthday.
Okay.
But they were talking about that, and it was interesting because Jordan was talking about how he doesn't even really like to deadlift anymore. He likes, if he's going to deadlift, he likes to do Romanian deadlift or he likes to sumo deadlift. And he's like, if I'm going to pull from the floor, I'm going to do sumo because it feels so much better on the low back, so much less risk for the low back. And then Mike was basically saying like, yeah, I don't really do anything. He was saying I'd rather load up a single leg variation than do like a heavy barbell squat or a heavy. And it's just interesting. Is the same kind of stuff I've been thinking about. Like it feels really good. You can load it up with half the weight.
Yeah.
It's
funny too because I heard older people say that. And I'm like, that's not gonna be me.
Right.
And then I get here and I'm like, oh no, I agree. Because like I don't back squat anymore. I'm like, what? Never? Like ever? And I don't think I'm one of those people that say I'm never doing that again. It's just going to be a lot more spare. I'm not doing back squat used to be in every single program I did. Like almost.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm probably gonna do a front squat instead. Most of the time, or single leg. Right now my knees, it doesn't feel good on my knees at the moment, so I like single leg, but if I do too much of it my knees will start bothering me. But I think that is not something like my back that is like going to be a lingering issue,
Yeah.
I think it's just at the period I remember now my hip must have been like, I don't know, it's just something's off, and I think that's easily correctable eventually. It's not an injury,
Yeah.
And then like for deadlifting, it might be like every once in a while I might trap bar deadlift or do something like that. But I'm not going to deadlift heavy in every program. Like right now, I'm deadlifting, I guess, technically, but it's a single leg landmine deadlift. So I'm pulling it off the ground. It's technically a
deadlift. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what
You're
I
right.
mean? That's what I'm saying. Like I'm still doing the movement. It's just not going to be like a heavy deadlift.
Yeah. It's just crazy because you find yourself slowly like going there in your mind. And I'm in the same spot where I'll be looking at my program going, all right, barbell back squat. And then I'm like, I'd much rather do like a heavy Bulgarian split squat or like even like a nice deep Cossack squat. Like, man, it feels good. And it's just so silly because it's interesting how you change for sure.
I don't know if I said everything I wanted to say, but good enough.
Yeah, well, it's good stuff to talk about. Quiz. I have a quiz. I wanted to see if you know the answer to this. Okay. This was a Bill. This Bill Campbell will post those. What do you think the answer is?
Yeah.
sometimes, and I like to test myself and see if I know the answer. And I wanted to ask you about this because this is something I think we've talked about before. But yeah. So people who maintained weight loss long term, okay, cited one primary factor. So what is the one primary factor for people who are successful in maintaining long term weight loss? Is it A, ongoing self monitoring and accountability? So stepping on the scale, weighing your food, checking in with somebody or something. B is monthly detox diets. C is a high protein diet. And D is drinking a gallon of water every day.
I think
Are you
A would,
between are you between A and C?
yeah, I am. I am. I think A would make sense, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to go with C. We'll see.
Okay. It's A.
It's A. Okay.
Now, the only reason I knew the answer to this is because I've read studies about this a lot. So a high protein diet is definitely important. However, if you let the high protein diet go for periods of time, the self monitoring and accountability will automatically bring it back up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, well, you can't do high protein forever if you're not actually tracking if you're eating the high protein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you could sustain weight loss without eating a high protein diet if you were lowering your calories enough and monitoring that.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I mean, we agree that high protein diet is important, but I've read lots of studies before about it's such a hard balance sometimes, and this is one of those things we talk about things that we've changed on, because I used to be a lot more empathetic. I don't want to say empathetic, but maybe I'll use that word just to get my words out and then I'll change it after. But to the idea of like, no, we don't need to use, F the scale. If it messes with your mind, just throw it out, or we don't need to track and blah, blah, blah. I used to be a lot more like, we can do this more holistically kind of thing. But the reality is it possible to just eyeball things and do everything holistically without any form of actual data tracking? Sure. Yeah, it is. But most people don't. Most people just don't. They're too, it introduces too much of a gray zone and too much of an unknown that there's no real clear indicators, right? And so having some form of data tracking or measuring or something that you can actually compare, like your progress, is really, really important. But then once you've actually lost the weight or achieved the goals, like one of the best ways to make sure that you maintain it is stepping on the scale every day and seeing where you're at. Tracking your food, a couple days a week, or, how every month you track for a week or something like that, some form of accountability. And multiple research studies show this, that the people who are consistent with maintaining weight loss are doing some form of tracking and accountability.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's weird too, though, because we talk a lot about like, when you step on the scale and the scale's higher than maybe you want it to be. And so then it ends up dictating your actions and your mood for the day. So a lot of people are stuck in that, like, oh my God, it was higher. And then they're kind of like feeling crappy and they're dictating their actions. But then maybe the next day it's a little bit better. And it might have nothing to do with what they did. It could just be bloating. It could just be water retention. It could just be because they had a good work. It could be because they have to poop. Like it could be lots of reasons, but they're not seeing that. They're just, so tied to it. So there's validity in that. There's a validity in working through disconnecting that. You need some coaching and training on it. But once you have that, it's actually, if you step on the scale and it's 3, 4, 5 pounds higher than what you want it to be, adjusting your actions that day in order to bring it back down, there's some validity in that too. You know what I mean? It's the nuance in the gray zone of like, we don't need to let it dictate like your self-worth or how you feel about yourself. But it's data. And if you're kind of tracking that data and you're seeing it go in a way that you don't want, that's when you can adjust things, reel them back in and bring it back down.
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't think that's necessary. I mean, if you get too much in your head, obviously, but I don't think it's necessarily like how much damage are you going to do if the next day you're like, well, I'm going to lower my calories a little bit because the scale was up. It's not really going to do a bit. Like over time, the scale should be, it should stabilize and and you'll stabilize. So,
well, it's that back and forth that we all used to do. But I feel like a lot of us are kind of out of that, or at least we can stop making all of our messaging about that. You know what I mean? Like the messaging is constantly like, I don't know, like you F the scale, it just messes with you and, messes with your head. It's kind of like, all right, let's get out of that now. I hear you. We've all been there, but you need some form of data tracking and data measuring. So we got to do something. What's it going to be?
As always, it's like the extremes.
Yeah, we got to get
one
out of that.
extreme or the other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Don't let the scale dictate everything and all your choices, but that doesn't mean you don't include it at all.
Definitely. All right, I have a ranking S through F tier.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 20 just exercises. 20 exercises. And I thought about doing it like, all right, exercises for strength. I want you to S through F tier them for strength or hypertrophy but I thought let's just leave it open-ended. So you could say, I'd give it this for strength, but this for hypertrophy if you want. Or you can just, how would you categorize it? Okay. All right. Starting off with a banger. Standing hammer curl. Your wrist is more in a neutral position, right? When we're curling up towards us.
B.
B, really?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to build biceps, it's a different variation that you can add in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That you could take close to failure. Like you're not going to be able to do a lot of weight with it, but it's something you can easily take close to failure without hurting yourself or whatever. So if your main goal is growing your biceps, which would be the goal, which would be the reason you're doing that, you're not doing it for strength or anything like that, I would say it's not a bad exercise. So I'm going to say B.
Yeah, I would say C. I was thinking
Okay.
C for this one. It's fine. It's a good it's a bicep variation. If you want to grow your biceps, there's better ones. It's not great for strength.
But
so
you're probably not
C.
doing it for that. Yeah.
Right. Well, so if I'm thinking of it as an overall exercise to include in your program, if I'm just thinking of it as like an exercise in general, C, it's fine. I just think it's fine. I think there's better ones for growing your biceps, and I just think it's fine.
Okay.
And that's a C. Deadlift.
This is really hard because
We're just talking about it. I know.
It depends on the person.
And it's just a conventional deadlift.
Conventional. I'm going to say A. I'm going to say A, not S, because like there's certain people that probably shouldn't do it. But I'm going to say A because it has a tremendous carryover to everything else. So if you get really strong in a deadlift, your rows are going to go up. Probably even your biceps curls are going to go up. Like your leg exercises are going to go up. It has so much carryover to everything else. So I think that makes it very valuable. And there's nothing that I can think of that will build strength as fast as a deadlift.
Yeah.
So for the average person, I'm going to say A, not S, because for many reasons that we've mentioned before.
Well, I have the benefit of seeing all of these exercises in front of me too. So I know what's coming.
Yeah.
I would give deadlift a B, but probably a high B, like, 88%, right?
Yeah.
For all the reasons you mentioned, but the reason I keep it a little lower is because of, I guess, I don't want to say the risk potential as you get heavier, but a little bit. The load on the back, how hard it can feel, even if you're not necessarily going to injure yourself, how hard it can feel to maintain good form once you get higher in the numbers.
That's why it depends on the person. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the next one is sumo deadlift, and I would give that an A.
I'm going to put that in the same spot, A. It's a little
You
less.
would?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A little less on your back, a little more legs. A little less risky, but still risky because I can lift more weight with that, which is the exercise I hurt myself on because I could go so heavy. You know? So, yeah, I'm going to give it an A. The thing about a deadlift is it's so, it depends on what your goal is. Like if your goal is straight hypertrophy, it may not be the best exercise because the fatigue ratio, like the fatigue muscle building ratio is low. Like if there's a lot of axial fatigue from doing a deadlift, right? So you're going to have to limit that amount that you're doing. But overall, like I said, even if hypertrophy is your goal, the amount of carryover it has to other things in the long run, it might be very beneficial. You just have to strategically program it.
If somebody says to me, my only goal is hypertrophy, sure, I'll get stronger as a result of that, but I don't want to do strength building exercises. I just want to look better. I wouldn't program a deadlift at all.
Probably not, because you're not going to be able to do as much volume and you're going to want to do, if that's your main goal, you're going to want to do a ridiculous amount of volume. So you're going to pick exercises where that fatigue to benefit ratio is, better.
Yeah. And if I have, I also, even though I gave like a deadlift a high B or sumo deadlift's an A, not an S. I like that you have a little bit more of an upright chest. I don't, and to clarify for sumo, I don't, put my feet all the way out close to the plates with my toes pointed out like a ballerina. It's more moderate. I would say my heels are probably in line with where my shoulder, maybe my midfoot is probably in line with, no, like my heels are like shoulder width, maybe. I would say
Trying-
my heels are kind of probably lined up with my shoulders, and then I'm pointed out, but not, completely out, more of like not a 30-degree angle, but a little higher than 30 degree. It's probably where my sumo is. What are you looking at?
My bar, so I know where my toes
Oh,
are on my
yep.
bar. So like my bar has these grips on the end, like I don't know, these rings, and that's usually where my toes are. So I
Yeah.
know where to stand because they're right there. But
Yep.
I don't know, my heels might be a little bit further than shoulder.
I'm just thinking I use my bar as well, where the rough part of the bar starts. There's measurement things on the bar that I use, but that's probably where it is. So it's not extreme, but it does cause your trunk to be a little bit higher, a little bit less load on the low back. But I would say if anybody, 60-year-old woman who's never strength trained before is like, I want to get stronger and more resilient and lift weights, I would have her deadlift. Like deadlift is most of the time I'm going to put it in somebody's program in some way. Pulling from the ground, by the way, not a Romanian. I think most people should do that.
Yeah. I had a thought into sprint. I'm sorry. Oh, it depends on your anatomy too. Like if sumo or conventional is better, some people are going to feel better doing sumo. Some people are going to feel better doing conventional, and it kind of depends on that. So it's not just one or the other.
Yeah.
Or like one is better than the other is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Goblet squat.
I'm going to say C only because it's very hard to load up. So if you're doing it for hypertrophy reasons and you're trying to get close to failure, how many freaking reps are you going to do, and how hard, like how much weight can you actually hold here? So that's the limiting factor. As an exercise overall, I think it's a great exercise, especially if you haven't built up the strength to be able to hold a lot. Like that's one of the exercises I have all of my beginner in-person clients do, is a goblet squat, because it's one of the best to learn how to squat properly, the way the weight is and how it counterbalances you, and the way you can get lower into it. And sometimes with your heels up, if you really have, ankle mobility issues, I think it's a great exercise. But I'm going to put it in C just because how are you gonna, like, it's just really hard to load up.
Yeah. I guess because where mind is going is like, I'd give it an A. I goblet squat. You can use it for any whether you're beginning, what would you classify, beginner, intermediate, or any level.
Yeah.
You can use it for any level in different variations, because I was thinking, oh yeah, maybe get like a cannonball, heels elevated cannonball goblet squat, where you have your heels close together and you're elevated. So you're you're just hammering the quads, like even when you're advanced, like but that's a different exercise, right? So, because I have different variations in here of different exercises. So that's not fair. So if I say just a goblet squat, feet flat on the ground, standard squat stance.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still really like it. I guess maybe I give up B, but yeah, I personally rarely do just a standard goblet squat anymore. Even if I'm doing it later in my workout, I don't use it really for strength. It is a good strength builder for more beginner people, but like as you go along, it is harder to load up. Yeah, I'll do a variation of it. So I'll give it a B. Oh,
Yeah.
high B though.
I would give it a high C.
High C. I give it
Yeah,
a high
I mean,
B.
I guess you could slow down the tempo, and that would make it a lot harder. So maybe that would push it up to a B, because you could probably get close to failure if you're going really slow or taking nice pauses at the bottom. Yeah.
If you get that weight real close to your chest, you can get a 100-pound dumbbell in your hands. I mean, you can get that solidified in there better than you could like a double loaded front dumbbell, front rack squat dumbbell. You could hold on to those. It's so much harder to hold on to 2 dumbbells than it is one in a goblet position.
Yeah, I guess you would have to only be like, I don't have 100-pound dumbbells. So
Right.
just somebody, you'd have to have access to a gym, but a lot of times you would anyway. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Reverse lunge.
Barbell, dumbbell, doesn't matter.
Let's do a dumbbell reverse lunge.
I'm going to say A. I'm going to say
Yeah?
A because this one you can You can hold
Mhm.
enough weight, especially if you use straps if you need to.
Mhm.
And reverse just feels better on your knee than forward. And anything split stance, it's so functional and a great way to load up one side at a time where you're not loading your spine. If you use the dumbbells, it gives you that chance to do, and it's a very good quad and glute exercise. So,
Yeah. I agree. Everything you said. I give it
yeah.
an A as well. Are there any S tier exercises here? Oh
I'm
yeah, I
try-
have one.
I'm trying to think of like as you were saying something, I'm like, wait, am I going to put anything in S? I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
I have 2 S tier exercises, I think.
Okay.
Step up.
The way I feel about step up, I'm going to say B. The way I feel about step ups is like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, it's
That's
a
a
good
C.
exercise. It's like, yeah, but to me, I guess I have like qualifications of what makes it, because if you a B and above, like to put it higher, it has to be something where it's either going to build strength very easily or it's going to build muscle very easily. So you're going to be able to load it up and progress it, right? And a step up, you can do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you can.
it's like definitely one that I don't program a lot. It can have purposes. So like if you are somebody who has knee issues doing other exercise, sometimes a step up is something where it doesn't hurt your knees the same way. So I've had clients where they couldn't lunge, they couldn't do any of that stuff, but they could do step ups and that was fine. Especially because you
Yeah,
can lower the level too, so you can make it at different
that's true.
levels depending on the person. I love step downs also.
Mhm.
So I love that controlled step
Mhm.
down. I have a lot of my, like when I have in-person clients, I have them do that a lot. It's very good for all the muscles around the knee and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay. Yeah, I would say C. I'm going to keep it in a C. It's fine.
It's
It can
fine.
have a lot of good carryover. One of
Mhm.
my problems with it is most people do it wrong. Unless you have them in person and you can really control that momentum, a
Mhm.
lot of people are kind of hopping up and like dropping back down into it. And it's really hard for people to grasp how to properly do a step up. And so that's why if we can really nail it down, I could give it a B and get that perfect form and controlling the deceleration and all that stuff. Not giving a lot of momentum, trying to give up as little momentum as possible. It can be a fabulous exercise, but like
Mhm.
overall, it's kind of, I feel like it's hard for people to master.
Hmm.
So I give it a C.
I love lateral step ups too,
I
or
do love lateral
step
step
downs.
ups
Yeah,
versus like going forward.
yeah. I also do curtsy step downs. Remember, there's
Oh,
curtsy
yeah.
step downs. Remember, we
Yeah,
had
I
that
do.
whole argument
We did.
because you're like, why are you calling it a step down? You're being dramatic.
Yes, I remember that. I'm gonna lower my list from 20 to 15. All right, RDL, Romanian deadlift.
You know what?
Let's
I'm gonna
do
give this
barbell.
one an S. I'm gonna give it
Thank
an
you.
S.
There's my S tier. S tier
because
exercise.
because it does it all, right? You could
Everything.
build tremendous strength doing Romanian. I could Romanian deadlift almost as much as I can regular deadlift, right? You could build tremendous strength, but also a ton of muscle building potential
Yep.
without taxing you as much. You're still going to get that axial fatigue, but not as much as you would with a regular deadlift.
Huge
The
carryover to everyday life and strength and functionality.
yeah, definitely, it's very functional. You can load it up a lot. Yeah,
Yep.
giving that one an S.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my S tier. Barbell back squat.
I'm gonna say A. I'm gonna put it in the same place as a
Yeah.
deadlift. Not an S because of that loading up your spine.
What did you give Goblet squat? A C?
A C because you can't load that up like you can a back squat. Like I'm not putting a goblet squat at the beginning of my exercise, beginning of my program, and saying, beginning of my workout, can't talk, and being like, that's going to be my main exercise. That's an accessory exercise. It's never my main exercise. A back squat, I can go at it. It builds strength way more than a goblet squat would.
Yeah.
It has, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of the only negative I can think of about a back squat is that potentially over time that spine compression
Yeah.
could be a problem. And if you're somebody who doesn't have the shoulder mobility to hold the bar correctly, like it can be a
Yeah.
problem. But they have the safety bar ones that you can do and stuff like
Those
that.
are hard to find though. Those aren't at every gym. Those are barely.
Yeah, that's true.
Or even if they were, people would know.
But then you could use that same for the 100-pound dumbbell. You know,
Yeah.
you might not be able to find that easily.
I feel like being able to do a proper squat, just body weight, is one of the like indicators of your mobility, possibly strength. It is just, I believe that every single human on earth should be able to sink into a squat, a body weight squat. And so if I'm thinking of having a client and wanting them to be able to do a squat, 100% they're going to goblet squat, right? No matter what level they're at, I'm at least going to throw it in some way. But not necessarily a barbell back squat. I feel like you can get a lot of the benefits. Don't get me wrong. I feel a barbell back squat's very high. I would probably give it what did I give a goblet squat? I think I gave it a B. I think I gave it a high B. A barbell back squat, I'd probably give an A as well. But I guess my only argument is how a goblet squat could be a C. I hear your thoughts on it. I just think that both are so beneficial.
It depends, like I said, it depends on the person, right?
It does.
So a C is for someone like me. Like I don't have it in my program all the time because it's like, it's really hard. I find it boring. I have to do a bazillion reps for me to get. I don't want to always do like 20 reps. Like I just like to do 6 reps and 8 reps. And with that, I would have to do a lot of reps.
Right.
And a back squat, I don't have to do that. And
you can load it up.
I can load it up. It's all of those reasons because to me, being able to load up something and progress it is going to make it much higher on the list. In a back squat, you can pretty much keep going.
Intermediate lifter, goblet squat is a C, back squat is an A. Beginner lifter, back squat is a C and goblet squat's an A.
I agree. I agree with that. Like if you're beginner, yes, a goblet squat would go above a back squat because you need to master that before you get to a back squat. Overall, though, no, I'm going to give a back squat an A, but you don't only do it once you can actually do it.
Yeah. Agreed. Burpee.
D.
What, you gave it a D?
A D.
Okay.
The only benefit of a burpee is you can get your heart rate up really quickly. So if you're doing some kind of HIIT workouts, then you can throw a burpee in there if you want to. But for muscle building or strength, no.
Yeah.
Safety.
Heard. I would have prior, old me would have given a burpee a D. But I'm moving it up a little, and I guess it depends on the reason. For strength and hypertrophy, no. But being able to get down on the ground and then push yourself up and then leap into the air, like all of those, it's like athleticism, right? General athleticism. I don't think burpees are, burpees used to get such a bad name. I'd give it a solid C.
That to do burpees to be able to do any of those things.
True.
And I can train other. I just don't see like. What's its main purpose? What are you doing it for?
Getting your heart rate up.
Yeah, exactly. So if that's its main purpose, like that's the only thing it's really good at. I'm giving it a D. I can train explosively being able to do all those other things in a better way. So I don't see a purpose for it. So I'm putting it in D. Not that I think it's like you should never burpee. Like I don't think like if it's in your program, like why is it there though? What is the purpose of it? And if its purpose is just to get your heart rate up, then it's fine. If that's why it's there. But it's not good for anything else.
Yeah.
Or it's not the best for anything else.
Right. Yeah. You can do other things that will help you explosively jump higher and harder. You can do other things to help you do an actual push up instead of flopping on the ground and then like throwing yourself in the air.
Yep.
100% agreed. Which is why I gave it a C, right? I didn't give it like, we're not raving about it. But it's decent. All right, we'll do one more. I cut my list down to 10 now. I have 10 more to do next week.
You don't want to keep going?
Well, it's almost time. I feel like it would be too long.
We got 5 minutes left.
All right, we'll see. Let's see.
It depends on how fast they are. Burpee was fast.
All right, pull up.
I'm going to give it an A.
I gave it an S.
And the only reason I'm not giving it an S is because many people don't have the ability to do that.
Yet.
So you can train to get to there, but it's a very hard exercise for many people to do just because you have to be lean already, right? If you're overweight, doing a
True.
pull-up is very challenging. So
True.
that's the only reason I'm giving it an A instead of an S. Otherwise, great exercise. Same thing like the Romanian deadlift. It builds strength and great for muscle building.
Yeah, I the reason I say S, and you're right, there's a lot of like limiting factors for somebody being able to do a pull up, but man, if you can, that's amazing. And if you can train to try to get a pull up, so whatever exercises you need to do in order to try to get a pull up are going to be hugely beneficial. And I love it because it really trains strength without I feel like there's really low injury. You're not loading it up, right? It's hard to load. You could load it up obviously,
Low
but like you
injury
don't need to. You have to step it down in order to actually get up to a full pull up. So I love that you can just do it with your body weight. Being able to do one is a huge mark of like being physically fit, not even just being able to pull up, but like the grip strength. And I just think it's an amazing exercise if you can achieve it. I think it should be like up there
Yeah.
on the goal list for almost everybody.
I agree. If there was like if everyone could just hop up on a bar and do one or two, then I would put it in S. But I just don't think.
Yeah,
For everything you
I
just
put it with like the things that, well, the next one also, if you can do a complete bodyweight squat with great form, if you can do a pull up, and if you can do this next one, which is a push up, I mean, that's amazing. Not a lot of people can do those three things. Can you believe that?
I know.
Where
That's
would you
crazy.
put push up? Yeah.
It's hard because it's a little bit harder to add resistance to, right? You could put a band around yourself. You can use a weighted vest or put a plate on you, but the plate always just I don't like doing that. It's just hard to get it up there and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just a little harder to add resistance. You could do them at like a different angle, or do like a decline, or something I like to do is do it at a deficit. So put like plates on the side of me so I go deeper into it. So variations, slowing it down to make it more challenging. I don't put it in my program enough. I think I should put it in there more. I'm actually giving it an A.
Yeah. You had to talk yourself into that one.
Yeah.
I'd give
I
it
was
an
gonna
A.
go with B,
A
and
as
then I went
well.
to A. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely an A. Definitely an A. Again, like, yeah, if people can do a push up, why didn't I give it an S then? Why isn't it an S exercise? I don't know.
Because
It's just not. Tell me why.
because it is harder to keep progressing at. Like, do you remember when I hurt my shoulder after doing like 500 million of them?
Because we were
Like,
competing.
yeah, like it just
You've always
becomes.
hurt yourself competing with me.
I know.
Well, actually, the deadlift was me competing with you. You didn't know.
I pushed
Well,
myself
no,
too
we
much.
were competing. Yeah, it was competing with me.
I didn't hurt
Sorry.
myself pull-upping competing with you, because pull-ups very low injury risk, like we said.
We'll
But
see. It's my goal. Get you injured.
that's why I put it in A. I still think it's a phenomenal exercise, though.
I think another reason I'd put it in. Now I'm contradicting myself here because I said if you can do those three things, like a squat, a pull up, and a push up, you're pretty much set up. You can go so far with those. But I also think not everybody has to do a push up. But man, I don't know, I'm bumping it to S. I can't talk myself out of an S. I can't give myself a reason why not.
It's
an S
beneficial for
exercise.
everybody.
Yeah, it's an S. Yeah, it's an S.
Okay.
Yep. Barbell bench press. I'm curious what you'll give this one. I'll answer while you're thinking. Do you want to hear mine or do you want to say yours?
You can go.
I'd give it a C.
I was debating between a C and a B.
I love a barbell bench press, but
I freaking love it.
Give it a C. I love it so much, but there is injury potential there. And it's not even like, oh, if you just change your position. No, it's because you're pressing a barbell and your shoulders are the most unstable joint in your body. And there's no way, unless you use a different type of bar or you use dumbbells, there's no way to optimize your shoulder stability in that exercise. And even if you can't, okay, so you can optimize.
You can't
you can't twist your wrists. It's your wrist.
You can't. You're locked into this position.
Yeah. And so it's just inherently there's a higher risk potential. And that's if you're doing it perfectly, right? That's if you know that and you're doing everything perfectly. And a lot of people aren't doing it perfectly, right? And so there's that risk potential is there. I would much rather dumbbell bench press, different story.
Yeah, because that's
hard to load up.
Yeah. Harder to load up. That's the only reason why I wouldn't have it higher. It would probably still be like A, maybe, but it's really hard to, yeah. I like, even it's so weird because I'll get into position when I do that, and especially if I just did a set and now I'm tired. Like, I don't know why, but dumbbell bench presses exhaust me. Maybe because it's one of those exercises where I find it really easy to get very close to failure, right? Because there's no pain, there's nothing. It's just a very easy, like, I don't know. It's just easy for me to get close to failure. So when I go to do my next set, I'm like, I can't even get the weights up, but somehow I can still do reps of it. But just getting them into that position, it's so freaking hard sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it
screw
is.
this.
Yeah.
Have you ever done like rest pause sets? Because I do rest pause sets a lot, so I don't have to use as much weight. But then I'll still be like, I can't even get them there. Like, I'm trying
I don't
so
like
hard
doing
and I
rest
can't
pause
even
sets
do
with.
another rep.
Yeah, I don't like doing rest pause sets with something like that because of having to get out of position. You know what how I like to, we're going from barbell to dumbbell. You know what I like to do with a dumbbell bench press is I like to do an alternating dumbbell bench press, but instead of having the stationary arm, so one is pushing and the other stationary, instead of having the stationary arm directly overhead, I'll have it down by my chest, so it's like the muscles contracted.
Yeah, that's usually how I do it.
Yeah, I love doing them that way because you're feeling that muscle working in that stationary arm, and then it goes, and those feel really good. I like doing those, but I won't do rest pause with dumbbell because I don't like getting out of position and back into position.
You know what I like a lot that just feel really good on my shoulders is in like a high incline bench press. So not like the normal incline. It's a little bit higher. So not straight up, but I'm not like at that 45-degree angle. It's like in between.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels really good. I can't do as much weight, obviously. But it feels, I like those.
Cool. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more, but I'll add 2 to those and we'll do 10 next week. How about that?
Okay, but can I add one that I'm going to put in F? Because I just want to put one in F because I have to, right?
Sure.
All right.
An F exercise.
An F exercise. I really don't like this exercise. Barbell high
Upright rows.
Upright row. Thank you. I'm like, what the hell is it called?
You'd give an upright row an F?
100%. There's no reason to do that. And it just puts your
Yeah,
shoulder in this very not good position, and it does not feel good at all. Like, there's no reason to do them.
I got nerves being pinched, and
it just does not feel good.
Yeah, my body doesn't like to do upright rows. I've never liked to do upright rows.
And dumbbells, like, maybe some people can do those because you, like, same thing as the barbell bench press, is you can manipulate them a little bit more. But even that, it just doesn't feel right. I don't like that exercise.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that
an
F.
Would you universally not recommend it for people? Because I feel like that's what an F is.
I never program that for anybody because there's so many people that like, there are people that can do it fine, but there are so many people that can't.
You know, who
very common.
An exercise I'd give an F to would be like a single leg pistol squat on a Bosu ball, like and then coming up and doing a thrust overhead with dumbbells.
Yeah, that's still an F. But I would still say this is an F just because I would never program it for anybody. There's so many other options. Like, why are you doing it? I always think, like, what is the purpose? What are you doing this for? Well, you could do this instead, and it's less likely to bother you.
To grow their shoulders in a different plane of, I don't know, sometimes I get tired of pressing stuff.
That's true.
You know? And then I'm thinking of, because it hits the lateral delts, an upright row. So if you're really tired of lateral frickin' raises all day to hit the lateral delts, like, well, let's do an upright row. Let's mix it up. Maybe, you know what I've done, or what I did recently was I superset them. So I do lateral raises first and then an upright row purposefully. So my lateral delts are very tired. And then when I do the upright row, I don't have to use as heavy weight to really feel the burn. And then I don't feel that uncomfortable feeling. Nope. Valara's just shaking her head. No.
Zero. I think you remember I was doing your program once, like, more recently. I don't remember what program it was, but they were dumbbell upright rows in there. I did like super light, and I'm like, F this. Nope. Does not feel good. I'm switching this out. I'm like, I haven't done these in a while. Maybe it'll be fine. No, I'm like, F this. Not doing it.
Literally F this. F this.
F this.
Not D this. F this.
No, that's an F.
Awesome. On that note, thank you so much for listening. This has been fun. If you like this, give us a follow, like, share, subscribe. We would appreciate it a ton, and we will see you next week.
Bye.